person, Pollock. We'll go around the room and do introductions.
Jeff Penscover, Alderman, District 4.
Jake Catnaw, Alderman, District 5.
Dennis Pollock, District 6.
Patrick Delaney, District 7.
Matt Zacher, Mayor.
Tim DeSorsi, Finance Director.
Thank you. Item 2, consider a request from the fire department to approve the distribution of funds from the sale of the old fire department equipment on the Wisconsin surplus auction site to the fire department equipment maintenance fund to offset the cost of replacement equipment.
Todd didn't talk to me about this agenda item. I'm guessing it's kind of similar to, if you remember back a couple, numerous months ago that police department sold some equipment and they came to have it appropriated to their line items so they could purchase replacement. And I'm guessing that's what Todd is referring to. I mean, historically, any assets sold that are purchased out of our equipment replacement funds, we usually put those proceeds of that old equipment towards the purchase of the new equipment. But other than that, I don't have any more information on this agenda item.
Thank you. Do we have the equipment that was sold? Let me check the packet. I don't see anything in the packet. I think this is pretty standard procedure. Just, I think at Common Council, maybe we could find out what what the equipment was sold. That'll be going back in.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'll second that motion to grant his request.
My question is, on here it says to offset the cost of replacement equipment. Is that new equipment that we're purchasing, or is that where? Are you saying it's standard?
Well, yeah, we have various equipment replacement accounts where, like say for fleet equipment in the street department, we use that to replace all that equipment. And when we dispose of the old piece of equipment, we put those funds into that account for the purchase of the new equipment.
And if it wouldn't go back into that account, where would it go?
It would just go to a general fund revenue, sale of city assets. And it wouldn't be appropriated for anything in specific unless it was, approved by the council.
I know this is something that Mr. Veneman had brought up during the last meeting, that this is the way that we currently do business. We don't know if it's the proper way. Do you have any thoughts on it either way?
Well, usually when we sell those assets, because we put, in the budget each year, we put an estimated amount into those accounts, and it's fairly stagnant from year to year. I would think by returning the auction proceeds or sale proceeds from the assets helps to deal with the inflationary costs over time for that equipment. So like in the street department equipment, we put the depreciation on the existing equipment into that fund. Obviously when you go to replace it, usually it's at a higher cost due to inflationary, so that's why we like to return those proceeds from the old equipment back into that account to account for that increase in price since the last time the item was replaced.
So you're saying this is the proper way of doing this?
Depending if it's coming out of an actual replacement account. Now, if it's just the sale of a general fixed asset that wasn't purchased out of any particular replacement fund, then usually those proceeds are just put into the general fund, proceeds from the gain of sale of disposal of an asset, and then we usually use those for we can appropriate for a specific purpose, or it just gets closed into our reserves, which can be used at a later date.
So these things that were sold, they were purchased out of that account?
I don't know of anything that was, like I said, Todd didn't talk to me about this, and I I guess I don't have, I haven't seen any sales come through for this. I mean, I think maybe he's just asking for, when these sales occur, that's where it goes.
How about we just have a standard if it comes out of, like you said?
Right. And that's been the practice, but we can enumerate that in a more formal, update our, disposal of city property policy and enumerate that in there to make it more clear. But, I wish kind of Todd was here, but
I think having a policy is a great idea.
Mhm.
I think that's a way to go. And then it doesn't have to come here every time for something, but for tonight, without knowing exactly what was sold or what account it came out of, I don't know how you could take action on it, but
We can hold it over till council. Dennis, I believe you say, I didn't make a motion,
No, I
but
know
you
you
seconded
didn't.
one.
Yeah.
I don't know, Patrick didn't either. So if you wanted to make an initial motion, you could. Otherwise, I think this is,
Well, do you want to take it back, take it to council to discuss it, or?
I think it'll probably get held out at council anyways, just for more information. I'd be more comfortable moving forward with it if there was information on the packet, at least what equipment was sold. But I think, that question can be asked at council as well. So you can make whatever motion you would like, but
Well, then I'll make the motion I made before that, we grant the fire chief's request to, where we go with it.
I'll second it. Got a motion by Pollock, second by Catnaw. All those who vote in the affirmative,
I,
aye. Those opposed,
I'm going to say no on the fact that we don't know what it was or what account it came out of. I don't know how we could pass that through, but so my answer is no.
okay. Motion passes, 2 ayes, 1 nay. Item 3, consider the renewal of the city's contract with the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce. Kyle, this,
Thank you. So this item is before you because you had requested last year that when we had signed the agreement with the chamber, that it be reviewed annually. You can recall that in July, Stacy, the president of the chamber, came in and gave you an update on the businesses and the impact that they've been making in the community, which is in line with the contract in terms of their responsibilities under that contract. So again, if the conversation's favorable here and/or if there's no action, the contract is set up to automatically renewal at the end of February. But because it's the budget season and there are dollars associated, Tim and I thought it necessary to put this before you again, should you want to discuss it further. I will note that Stacy is on as well, if you want to ask her any questions about the chamber or the contract.
Stacy, are you there?
Can you hear me? Hello?
How about now?
Are you?
Is that good? Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I was not able to be there in person. My sister's getting married, so I'm in Minneapolis. But does anybody have any questions regarding, what has been completed so far? Is there anything that you feel like council would like in terms of, another progress report at the upcoming council meeting? Just looking for feedback.
I personally would like that. Yeah, I think as much information as we can get out of you guys and what's going on in the business community here is valuable, and we'll take it. As far as what's in the contract, it would stay the same as is my understanding.
Correct.
Patrick?
I just want to know if there was any progress made of being able to use some of the funds from hotel tax dollars, hotel stays, room tax, that's what it's called. I couldn't think of that. Thank you, Mr. Zacher. I'm asking Tim.
I'm sorry. I think based on our last conversation, if I recall that, I think there was going to be some information gathered on exactly what the chamber would use the funds for, and what activities. And then obviously we'd make a determination if that's an appropriate use of the room tax funds. And I think at the time I had reached out to the city attorney about that and, you know, what's allowed under state statutes and things like that. So, but other than that, there's been no progress, I guess, from that conversation.
My understanding was that last year there was a motion made to take these funds out of the room tax. Whether that happened, I guess I wouldn't know, but that was something that passed to my memory.
Right, we have a portion of the room tax gets allocated for economic development type activities, and that's what the $25,000 annual payment to the chamber, that's where that came from, that's correct. I do believe Alderperson Delaney is talking about the 70% that's allocated for
Correct.
CVB purposes.
Yeah, I would like to see it come out of that 70%. Correct.
So my understanding is Alderperson Delaney is referring to, instead of the 25,000 coming out of the 30% that is allotted for other things from the room tax, he's saying it should come out of the 70 that is going to CVB right now. Is that correct? So it'd be more of an.
Yeah, that's what I was, and I thought that it was 50,000. Is it only 25,000 for the
25,000.
contract?
But if I recall from that conversation, it was about additional monies to fund some of the tourism type activities that the chamber may engage in. Because the 25,000, yes, is coming out of the room tax. We're allowed to keep 30% of the room tax. And a portion of that goes to fund park outlay and a portion goes to fund economic development. The $25,000 annual payment does come out of that portion that's of the room tax that's allocated to economic development.
So just to clarify, at this point in time, 70% is still going to CVB? And I think what we're talking about is maybe transitioning some of the funds that go to the Visitor and Conventions Bureau to other organizations or purposes such as the chamber.
I do believe that was the intent of the conversation. Am I wrong, Alderperson Delaney? Okay.
So if a motion was made tonight to renew the contract within that portion of the room tax, that would be a motion that would be correct?
I think still, we got to get more answers from what the chamber is doing for us and if they are legally able to get
Right.
that money out of the 70%. I
Okay.
don't think we can just make a motion and
But,
have that money come out of there.
yeah, are we talking about two separate
Well, the
items
item,
here?
the item is renewal of the city's contract with the Hart. So at this point, we could move forward to renew it and decide where we're going to take the funds. Is that correct?
The 70 percent that goes to CVB? Is that just a arbitrary number? How did we come up with that?
State statutes, the room tax law dictates that 70% of the room tax has to go towards tourism, and of which the CVB satisfies that statutory requirement.
Okay.
I could get you the exact statutory language and definitions. But I think the issue with, outside the 25,000 annual contract with the Hart is that if there's other additional things that the Heart of Wisconsin is doing that qualifies for the statutory definition of tourism development or promotion, is that could some of that 70% go, in addition to the 25, go to the Heart of Wisconsin to fund those activities? Is that correct?
Well, I would like to see it all come out of the 70%, because we're talking about $350,000 a year that goes to the CBB.
Stacy, can you talk about what the Heart of Wisconsin does for tourism?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, that 70%, now there's a couple of different contracts in the state statutes that I tried reading, and from my understanding, 70%, like somebody else had said, it's state statute that it has to go to a tourism entity if you have one, which under their defined stipulations would be, the Wisconsin Rapids Convention and Visitors Bureau. We do tourism efforts such as, bringing people in for vendor fairs. Obviously, we're hosting the event, but the CVB is doing, marketing, and that's really primarily, what they're doing is marketing the area, bringing in the tourists for all of the events and programs and so on. So from my understanding with what I kind of researched a little bit is that because X percent of our budget doesn't go towards strictly marketing efforts, it would not be included in that 70% unless there was no tourism entity in our area. So I still would feel like, that remainder 30%, and then that portion that goes towards economic development, I mean, you can really say that, all of what we're doing is economic development related, even if it is hosting parades and vendor fairs on top of all of the actual workforce and economic development activities we're doing, because we're still creating a better quality of life for Wisconsin Rapids, because we wouldn't have very many events at all if we were not doing them.
Whoever puts the packet together for council, if they could please include the contract with the chamber. I don't see it in the finance packet. I think that would be something that the council should take a look at. But at this time, in terms of renewing the contract with the Hart, regardless of where we decide to take those funds from, which are currently from room tax, the 30% that were discussed, I would make a motion to renew the city's contract with the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Catanaw, second by Delaney. All those who vote in the affirmative?
Yes.
Aye. All right, motion passes 3 ayes, 0 nays. Item 4, consider for approval a request from Eco ATM LLC, Sean Flaherty, agent located at 4331 8th Street South, for renewal of a second-hand article dealer license. So the clerk isn't with us. I don't expect anyone else to have the answers to this, but I'll just say that these are pretty standard. They come through for renewal. And when it is a renewal, it's a current operating business. So oftentimes those folks will not come in and speak. Indifferent if they are new, they will come and tell us about their business. So at this time, I would make a motion to approve the request from Eco ATM LLC agent for renewal of a secondhand article dealer license. Question?
I just want to know if there's anybody in the audience that is with this business that'd like to speak about it. Okay.
All right, motion by Catnaw, second by Pollock. All those who vote in the affirmative. Aye.
Yes.
3 ayes, 0 nays. Item 5, consider for approval the appointment of Jessica Kramer as successor agent for the retail Class A fermented malt beverages and retail Class A intoxicating liquor licenses for Quick Trip, Inc., DBA Quick Trip, 128, 1111 Lincoln Street.
Is there anybody in the audience? I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Delaney, second by Pollock. All those who vote in the affirmative. Aye.
Yes.
Motion passes 3 ayes, 0 nays. Item 6, audit of the bills. Those were not prepared yet. Tim, if you would like to speak to it a little more, but otherwise, from the conversation I had with him, it sounds like something will move to council.
Right, yeah, they just didn't get included with the packet, so if it's, what I can do is I have them ready to go and email them tomorrow, and then we could hold it out at council and take action on it if you so wish.
Is there any questions on that? Otherwise, no action needs to be taken. Okay, we'll dispose of that item. Move it to the common council. Item 7, 2025 budget update.
So Tim and Maddie Palmquist and myself met and talked things through. Maddie kind of wanted to set things up a little differently this year. We're looking at 3 meetings between now and before the public hearing to look at the budget. The first meeting would be Committee of the Whole, where we did, and we're looking, probably a date on that is the week of the 14th, where we would get together, and we want to spend some time for Tim and myself to be able to present the budget to you as we get through the rest of the numbers here and get things squared away as to where we stand as a whole budget, and then get your input as to the higher level stuff of what you want to do for us to make bigger changes, or what we're going to do, if we're going to take out debt, or we got to decide on where we stand at that time. There's been some pretty significant changes this year that have to be addressed, so we'll be talking about that again the week of the 14th. Also at that meeting, we're going to ask, we got some information today from the entire department head group on vision, mission, and values as to how we'd like to set that, because we would like to, I guess what I'm asking the finance and then the committee of the whole is to be able to have a pretty firm view as to where we want to move forward together as a council, as a city government, so that if we're going to make some tough decisions, then we're making them with the understanding that, I don't want to go through and make some really tough calls and make everybody really mad, and then the council ends up voting against it anyways. So we kind of want to have some idea what direction we're going in. So that'll all be the week of the 14th. And then with what we put together there as the committee of the whole, we would take that back to the department heads and make the appropriate changes. And then, so then that next week, hopefully we would sit down with the department heads around this horseshoe here. Everybody would be there, and Maddie asked that everybody's going to have a summary of, a one-page summary of what they accomplished in 2024 and what their vision, the goals are going to be for 2025, what any major budgetary items that changed would be. But that means that we would all go through the budget beforehand, so if we have any line item questions, we would have those written down and ready to go, because we're not going to ask the department heads to go line by line by line through it. And our intention is to spend one night with the department heads and get things knocked out, get any questions answered, and move forward from there. And then that would be the closing of the budget for the council, and then we would have the open hearing meeting for the public. The third meeting would be looking forward to 2026 right away. We'd want to meet for a third time to really hammer out, if we're making big calls, what that's going to look like for 25 and into 26. So, Tim, did you have anything to offer or add? Any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Zacher, for the update. Item 8 is set next meeting date. So if we look at the calendar, the first Tuesday in November is the 5th, but it is election day. So I don't know if that conflicts for anybody, what action will be going on that day, but we could either do it the 5th or we can do it a alternate day. Do it on the 5th. Yep. Yeah.
Right now, we have tentatively scheduled November 12th, that Tuesday, November 12th, for the public hearing at 6. So with the premise that everyone will probably be down here, we could do the finance at 5 o'clock on the 12th, as long as, we're going to have to be here for the public hearing following that, so.
How do we know what's going to be on the agenda, though?
The
We-
finance?
If we start at 5,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
public hearing
I
at
understand.
6.
It's just a thought. We could start the finance meeting a little bit earlier, depending on what the agenda looks like, so.
Well, Dean's not here. It's the 12th. Okay. The next Finance and Property Committee meeting will be on November 12th at 4:30.
That's city pretrials are that evening, just so you know.
We will meet somewhere down here
What
in the
time?
conference room.
We could be done.
Starts at 3 or 3:30 and could go as late as 6 or 6:30. Depends how many
Okay.
people are on the list.
We'll find a conference room.
Right, but for the public hearing, I'm more concerned about, so.
Oh, well, that's,
Well, we can have it,
Yep.
the public hearing we can have on any day, I guess
yeah.
we'll talk
This-
about it.
this will be in regards
Yeah.
to the Finance and Property Committee. Item 9, in open session, the committee may vote to go into closed session under section 19.85, para 1, para E of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. And section 19.85, para 1, para G, Wisconsin statutes, which reads, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved.
I'll make a motion going to closed session.
We have a motion by Delaney, second by Pollock. All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. We will now enter closed session. Of circumstances giving rise to claim filed by Eagle Prairie Incorporated, NCC Briarwoods LLC, regarding an alleged excessive tax assessment for 2024. No action is taken on this item. Item 12, the committee may consider and may take action on the settlement and dismissal of a lawsuit filed by Eagle Prairie Incorporated and CC Briarwoods LLC regarding its tax assessment for 2023. No action is taken on this item. Item 13 is adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor? Aye. This meeting is adjourned at 6:07 PM.
Yeah, I get excited about